A Sad and Beautiful World is a sweeping love story that spans 3 decades of passion, heartbreak, and hope. Nino, played by Hassan Akil, and Yasmina, played by Munu Akul, find themselves drawn together by a magnetic relationship. As they face an impossible choice between love and survival, they must decide if they want to build a family and chart a path to happiness in Lebanon, despite the tragedies ravaging the country. A Sad and Beautiful World is directed by Cyril Aris, and this is his second feature after Dancing on the Edge of a Volcano from 2023, and A Sad and Beautiful World just debuted at the 2025 Venice Film Festival in the Venice Days sidebar. A Sad and Beautiful World is one of my favorite films of 2025. It's such a beautiful, layered, emotional, funny, engaging film, and I highly recommend checking out this film. I highly recommend checking out this film without knowing too much. It's just about a decades-long love story between two characters, Nino and Yasmina, and I think you'll get more out of this film if you experience the film fresh, because I will be talking about things that happen in the second half of the film, and those things that I talk about will greatly enhance your viewing of the film if you don't know those things going in. So I definitely recommend checking out this film fresh. The film starts off with a very confronting scene where Nino and Yasmina are born in a Lebanese hospital on the same day, and outside bombs are going off outside the hospitals. Everybody's stressed. And then after that we meet Nino and Yasmina as they are a bit older. Nino, he runs his parents' restaurant. We find out later in the film that he lost his parents to a car. A bomb hit their car when they were driving across the bridge, and Nino survived the accident, but both his parents passed away, and he has to live with his grandfather. And Yasmina is a financial consultant, and she's very much a workaholic. And during the start of the film, Nino is driving in his car and he gets distracted and he smashes his car into an office, and in his office is Yasmina's mother, and so they all go to the hospital, and Nino feels really bad about the accident, and he offers Yasmina and her family a free meal at his restaurant, and that's how he gets to meet Yasmina again. But when they meet in this restaurant, they kind of like look at each other, and because they were childhood sweethearts. They met in school, and they spent a lot of time in school, and they formed a nice, loving relationship. But they were separated when they were kids. Yasmina had to move away because her parents got divorced, and they never saw each other again. But this is the first time they've seen each other since they were childhood friends, or childhood girlfriend and boyfriend. And in this restaurant, they kind of look at each other and they realize that they are the same people that they were as a child. And it takes a bit of convincing, but Nino finally convinces Yasmina to see him again. Nino's a very optimistic type of guy, quite happy and very talkative, and Yasmina, she's a little bit introverted, and she has grown she kind of like takes the blame for her parents divorcing, and she really doesn't. She hates living in Lebanon. She hates the whole, like, everything about the country. She's always wanted to leave, and once Nino and Yasmina start to form a romantic relationship, or once they first meet, Yasmina is just approved for a transfer to Germany, but she ends up cancelling that transfer because she wants to take a chance on Nino and their relationship. But I'll let you experience the rest of this love story yourself. But this film does jump in the first half of the film. The film does jump back between Nino and Yasmina as they're in the present day, as they're falling in love, and as their children. We see them as children as well. But in the final 40 minutes of the film, we meet them later in life, after they've gotten married and they have a small child of their own, a little girl who's about 5 or 6 years old. And when we meet them in this period of time, they're still like very much in love and playful and loving, and the relationship is still going strong. But Nino's restaurant is not going very well, and Yasmina, her consulting firm, is closing the Beirut's office, so she's out of a job. So they're in a bit of a crossroads at the moment. Yasmina, she really is like, she just really doesn't want to bring up a child in Lebanon at that point of time, and she really wants to transfer to another country. She can transfer to an office in another country. But Nino, I think this restaurant, even though it's not doing very well, I think this restaurant is the last thing that he has of his parents. His parents owned and ran this restaurant, and he took it over. And I think he just doesn't want to give up on this restaurant because it's the last thing he had from his parents. But Nino and Yasmin are played by Muni Akul and Hassan Akil. That their relationship is so honest and real, and has its ups and downs. But even though it doesn't matter how many downs they have in their relationship, the love is always so strong. It just comes through the screen. You can feel the love for each other. They have the two actors, Muni and Hassan, have such chemistry, and it's such a playful relationship. This film is kind of like a mix between drama and comedy. It probably leans more towards the drama, but it is a mix between comedy and drama. And the film balances these tones so well. In some scenes, it's very serious. In some scenes, it's very funny and amusing and so well performed. And like one scene can be very, very heavy emotionally, like someone passes away or something very deep happens, and then one of the characters will like make a playful joke or playful move, and it just lightens the whole scene. The film balances the tones extraordinarily well. And as I said before, Nino, he's very optimistic, and despite his own tragedies in his life in Lebanon, I think he still loves the country. He's still very attached to the country. He doesn't really want to leave. And when Nino has his own tragedy in his life later on in the film, Yasmina, she has to be the optimistic one, and she has to bring up her husband, and there's so many, and the final act of the scene is so touching. This type of story of childhood sweethearts meeting finally later in life is not particularly original, but it kind of reminded me of a film, Lovers of the Arctic Circle from 1998, a Spanish film that is quite similar in the passion and the romance and the way the story is told. I'll give a shout out to some of the performances. And Muni Akul, she's a Lebanese screenwriter and director herself, and she is fantastic in the film. And Hassan Akil as Nino, they have a very nice bond and chemistry in this film. There's one scene in particular later on in the film. It's quite emotional, and Nino's having a hard time, and he's just having a time out in the bathroom for about 1 hour, and Yasmina just wants to check up on him, and they have like a conversation through the keyhole of the door, and it's so something I haven't seen before. I just want to give a shout out to the child performances in this film. Later in the film, when Nino and Yasmina have a young daughter, Amal, played by Valentina Hartram in her film debut. She's fantastic. She's very natural. And the two child performances who play the young Nino and young Yasmina young Yasmin is Alex Churi, and young Nino is Muhammad Fahad. They give very natural, funny performances in the first half of the film. I give A Sad and Beautiful World 4.5 stars out of 5. Definitely one of my favorite films of 2025. It's so sweeping and epic and romantic, and Nino and Yasmina, played by Muni Akul, and Hassan Akil, are such real, relatable, funny, natural characters, and you really feel for them as the film goes on. And the credits come up after about 1 hour and 45 minutes, but it manages to fit so much into that running time, and it's just, I can't recommend this film enough. It's such a beautiful, romantic, funny. It balances the tone so well, and yeah, I definitely can't recommend this film enough. Thanks for watching. What did you think of A Sad and Beautiful World? Please comment below what you thought of the film. See you next time. Bye.